redneck noise.
Hey, welcome, y'all! That's right. This is the Pregame Engineer Tailgate Mayor Racing Podcast, episode number 70 for Friday, November 11, 2016. Hanging out on a Friday night. It's Tailgate Mayor Rusty Wallace, joined in the PETM podcast studio with Pregame Engineer Andrew Sherwin. What's up, dude?
Hey, man, you know, if you didn't go to, like, normal places all the time, we wouldn't have to do this episode on Friday.
I know.
But you know what? Friday is fun, though. I told the driver that brought me down, I was like, you know what? This is like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's
So
fun.
it's not like
Friday night. We get to hang out.
I wouldn't be out clubbing.
Well, I'll tell you what
right?
we'd have been doing instead is sitting around talking about NASCAR.
Right.
So might as well record it, have some people watch, and goof
Yeah.
off a little bit, drink some beer, drink some other stuff, see what happens. Speaking of, what you drinking?
Well, I am drinking Sweetwater, which is one of our local breweries, Hash Brown, which is an India-style brown ale. Basically, it's just their brown ale that they dry hopped, pretty much.
Yep. It's good. And I've got the session version.
Ooh.
So they do all the same stuff, just on a, less alcohol percent beer, and you can drink it all day. I mean, I guess you can drink that one all day, but
Well,
be a little
what they do
sideways.
is they make the same recipe and they just put less sugar in.
Yep.
And then you end up with a less alcoholic beverage.
They're both tasty. What do we have on deck though? So we've got we brought the
have
bar
a-
up here,
we have
y'all.
a plethora
We've
of
even got
options.
there's the ice bucket. Yep, brought the ice bucket. Brought that. We've got more beer. Just Dragon's Milk. That stuff that'll get after you right there.
Oh, that's
the
Michigan.
New Holland.
Michigan.
Yeah.
New Holland Founders Dragon's Milk Bourbon Barrel Aged Milk Stout. Absolutely delicious.
Brought up the Widow Jane that we had when
From Grand Rapids, I believe.
when our friend Juliet Miranda was on. Got the Eagle Rare from last week.
Oh yeah, when Matt
It's
and
party
Jess
up in
were
here.
on. Yeah,
It's
it is
party.
a party up in here.
Speaking of partying and what you drinking, we've got a viewer question, or I keep saying viewer as if we got some sort of show like that.
Got a listener.
We've got a listener question for what you drinking. Pat Cleary at PatWolf13 asked us kind of a double what you drinking here. Number one, what's the best drink most people haven't tried to accompany watching a race, especially a mixed drink?
Well, so maybe I'll just dive in since later I think we're going to talk about the ponies a little bit. I would say we're just talking about a race, and we're not worried about what kind of vehicle is running that race. I'd say a mint julep.
I'll kick it old school a little bit for me and you. Maybe rewind about a decade, a little more than a decade. You remember we were camping out and stuff. And old Rusty's wake-up juice at the track.
Crown and
raspberry ginger ale.
That's right, the Schweppes raspberry ginger and the Crown
There's
Royal.
something about that when you wake up in the morning. See, I'm not one of them to drink those morning things. I don't get into the
I can't
Bloody
do the
Marys
mimosas.
and the mimosas and all that.
I'm getting into Bloody Marys.
Yeah.
I'm working my way in.
Tomato juice is still a thing for me. Like we don't.
It tastes like hot sauce and black pepper to me right now.
Right.
And I think that's because I've put
a bunch of hot sauce and black pepper.
Well, no, I just use a Zing Zang, but I've put
the
lion's share of the beverage is the vodka.
So once I got after that Crown and raspberry ginger, man, and I ain't had it in a while, so I need to pull that back out next week.
Next time,
Next week, what you drinking? Gonna be that. Thank you, Pat, for reminding me of that. 2-part question though. Second part, love this question by the way. Is there anyone? And the answer to that is no. But is there anyone?
And soon to be yes.
Yeah, it's soon to be yes. Who's made a map listing all the great craft beers made near the tracks? So
we've we've kind of already got some of this stuff cornered in
at
a
least
lot
in
of
the
ways.
Southeast.
Like we already had. So we started to. We've done it 3 times now, where we've gone over. We've driven up through Asheville to go to Bristol to the August race, and we've stopped at Asheville Brewing in downtown Asheville. They have a nice little selection of both beverage and food. And so that was the spark for us. And then, of course, the weather probably played a lot of the role in us stopping in Columbia for the night for the Darlington deal. The first hurricane we dealt with. And, we sought out a brewery to go to because that would be fun. We went to River Rat. But also at Atlanta Motor Speedway, you've got Jailhouse, which is damn near walking distance.
You can almost stumble back.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a dedicated walker, I would recommend walking. I think it's 2.1 miles from the racetrack.
That ain't so bad.
You just have to be careful crossing.
Like 4 beers.
Just cross over 1941 right there, where the Waffle House and the Wendy's are, and keep walking that way. You're going to get there, in probably about an hour.
So, just on the Periscope here, old MJ Kitty tells us they've had a Bloody Mary with whiskey in it the other day. Now you're speaking old Rusty's language here.
So that's a bloody something else there. That's like a bloody mountaineer or something.
Yeah.
Because when you put tequila in
bloody
it, it's a bloody Maria.
Ah, okay.
Maria.
So, great questions from Pat Cleary.
And we will damn sure
off.
put together that map, especially as we go.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy an open map, and we're going to plot the breweries that we go to relative to the tracks that we visit. And we're going to just update y'all as we go. Obviously, it's not going to grow very quickly, but we'll put them there, and y'all get to see.
Well, like you mentioned, I was in New York all this week, or you said I've been away. That's where I was, up in New York City.
New York City!
And I'll tell you what, and I was joking back and forth with Carlton, @_Carlton, and he he was saying, yeah, man, I like New York. And I said, man, I do too. Don't tell all our Southern friends we're going to lose some street cred on that.
Yeah.
But
we've been
New York's
trying
fun.
to figure out for a year and a half how I can get up there while you're there and hang out.
And just paint the town red,
stuff.
have a good old time.
Now that I have like 200,000 sky miles, this probably be pretty easy to figure out.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a big deal. Well, what'll happen is you'll go online to use that, and then the ticket will be like $150, and you're like, well, I'll just pay the ticket.
Well, if it's that cheap, I'll just buy the ticket. Yeah.
So we got to give huge props, though. While I was gone, you got a little package in the mail, eh?
I sure did.
Tell us about that.
So last week, obviously, we know y'all enjoyed the episode because we received quite a lot of attention for it, and rightfully so. Ms. Jessica Tao from New Hampshire Motor Speedway offered to send us some fun stuffs, some swag, as they say. As Mark Martin would say, we got some swag. And she came through in a much bigger way than I ever would have imagined. We got these awesome farewell Tony Stewart posters. If you look over our heads here, we got some couple Jeff Gordon placards commemorating the 25th anniversary of New Hampshire Motor Speedway and participating in NASCAR and all this stuff. Got a little postcard. We got stickers. I've already got a sticker on my kegerator.
That one's going on my cooler for sure.
And Jess, if you come in contact with this show for whatever reason, I mailed a little care package for you yesterday.
Hello. Excellent. So she'll be looking out for that. But, man, that was cool as crap. And these posters, man, those are like old school.
No, they're
hell.
for real. We need to frame them or something.
Yeah, they're going to go up there. I think it's about time for the dudes sitting on the rafter up there to make way for the PETM podcast studio
or something.
Yeah. Or in the other room or something. I've got other places.
Well, we've got more pictures that need to go on there too.
Well, that's true. We got a lot to decorate with. It's what it comes down to. Let's talk about NASCAR, huh?
What is this podcast about?
What are we doing? 8 minutes in. This is like old school us. You remember when we first started?
We used to get yelled at by like the 3 people that would follow us on the Periscope and be like, y'all hadn't said a damn thing about NASCAR in like 10 minutes.
It's Friday night, y'all. We're having fun. Let's do something. By the numbers, car number 70. By the way, episode number 70, another, multiple of 10 milestone.
For sure.
Very cool. Very fun, and love having
slightly less
the
sexual
PETM
than the last one.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is fine.
But by the numbers, car number 70, and you can't do car number 70, evidently, without there's one name that just sticks out when you go look up the numbers, and it's like, you got to talk about this guy. That's J.D. McDuffie. 653 races between 1963 and 1991, and 624 of those were in the number 70 car. So 624 races in the 70 car. And he was in a small team his whole career. So this is where it gets kind of funny or tragic or whatever you want to call it. 278 DNFs in the 70 out of 624
That's
races.
That's almost half.
He is not tied. He is in second overall for the most number of last place finishes at 32. behind, of all people, Front Row Joe with 33.
32 DFLs.
32
Wait,
DFLs.
Front Row Joe Niederreck has 33 DFLs.
Yep, more
Wow.
DFLs than any other driver.
Oh, my goodness.
His best finish was third at Albany Saratoga Speedway in 1971. How cool does that sound as a racetrack? And unfortunately,
yes, all of the yeses.
we lost J.D. McDuffie in a race at Watkins Glen in 91, collided with Jimmy Means, who we talked about on the show
We have
before.
talked about Jimmy Means.
And he ended up upside down, and very commonly for that era, it was a basilar skull fracture, and that was one of the catalysts for the whole Hans device thing. Obviously it was another decade before we lost Dale Earnhardt, but that was when they were really starting to take a look at that sort of thing. So very unfortunate to have lost him, but there he is, J.D. McDuffie. We're raising a glass to old J.D. McDuffie. Thank you for racing all those races. In the back.
Goodness gracious.
Well, how about the Cubbies, dude?
Well, I mean, good for them. That Game 7 was about as much as you could ask. That was a movie, is what that was.
The NASCAR has talked about they want that Game 7 moment. You ain't never going to have that kind of Game 7. That was the Game 7 to end all Game 7s.
Well, you can't manufacture it. It's like when they said Terry Francona came into the World Series 8-0 in the World Series when he was with the Red Sox because they swept both times or whatever ridiculousness it was. And it's like, well, I mean, nobody really bitched about that because they swept the World Series. Like, it's just a World Series. I mean, let's get super excited about this Game 7 that went to – I mean, we got tied up in the ninth. We had a little bit of weather and then overtime and all the holy crap. And
it was crazy.
It was nuts.
It was crazy.
But you can't manufacture that. You just have to let it happen.
So Ashley J. Stang asks us, and we'll get to Stranger Stang later on, but she says, where were you when our Cubbies won the World Blanking Series? Fill in the blanking.
Yeah, she definitely used some language there.
But,
I'm fine with it.
I love it. I love seeing that passionate stuff.
I was sitting on my recliner. I watched every pitch. By the time it was over, I might have had a beverage or two, as should be expected at this point. But I was cool. I mean, I thought it was awesome.
I was in New York City.
New York City.
Watching that game, eating paste pecani sauce out in my...
I was going to say, you get some paste pecani. San Antonio?
Yeah.
No, New York City.
I was watching the game, sitting on my hotel room bed, probably having a couple cold brews myself, and I was actually tired as crap because I had to get up real early, and as soon as that rain delay hit, I had to get up and start doing push-ups and stuff. I was like, all right, Rusty, come on, stay with this. It's midnight or whatever, but this is huge. So
I definitely fell asleep in the recliner that night.
We saw bringing it around to NASCAR, saw Kurt Busch spotted at the game, and he was at
he
the
was like
after
at
party
game
and stuff.
5 maybe, 4 or 5. And they had talked about in the practice broadcast earlier today that he had decided he wanted to watch the game at home, but he went to an after party with like Bill Murray and you name it, other really cool Chicago people.
Well, as
like Bill Murray, he went to Bill Murray's party. Okay,
sauced as Bill Murray was, that had to be a fun party,
dude. He was.
There was no doubt
soused,
and good for him. Good for him.
Take me out of the ball game.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
I didn't hate that for a minute. Like, if you hate on that, like, go find something else to do.
Right. So let's tear it down.
Tearing it down.
Well, if Rusty can figure out how to use his soundboard, then we'll be able to tear it down, and you won't have to make those noises. There it comes. There it is. So, guess what? Guess what? For the second time in PETM podcast history,
hashtag Grandpa Fart.
There we go. We're blowing the horn. The
right.
PETM podcast horn.
I must concede.
I was
Good
really
pick,
excited. Jimmy Johnson winning that race in Martinsville, called it on the PETM podcast last week, and not only that, called it amongst people and peers who know a lot more about NASCAR than I ever will, with Matt Weaver and Jess Tao.
Sure,
and so that was awesome. And what I don't know. What do you think of that race? Let's start with you.
I think if you throw out the really weird
29 lap caution to
that
get something
that
wrong.
pissed me off.
Yeah.
So we can shelve that or we can bring it back. It doesn't matter to me.
We're tearing it down.
I think
we can tear down
anything. what I saw. So if I'm just evaluating the race, nobody should be shocked that Jimmy Johnson won. He's kind of good at Martinsville. If he finishes his career maybe 5 or 6 years from now, he will have won more races there than Richard Petty.
Wow.
That's my feeling. But what I thought about was, okay, so we've never had really a green flag runs at Martinsville, which means Goodyear brought a tire that was probably hard as a diamond. And it was so hard that it led to some cars that were probably pretty good actually melting beads because the brakes never had a chance to cool off.
Yeah.
So that I think that's a miss for Goodyear.
But I mean, you can't expect Martinsville to have 109 or however many it was green flag at the end.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's a miss for Goodyear to bring such a hard tire that we didn't have cautions.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
You're saying that's a cause effect there.
Yeah, that's a cause and effect for me.
Okay.
Like, I think we had long green flag runs because tires were too hard.
I got you. Okay.
If they were softer, we would have had to come pit or somebody would have blown one earlier. Martinsville is kind of track for the most part that you don't have to worry about if somebody loses a tire at full speed hitting the wall. We're probably not going to kill anybody.
Right.
Especially now.
So I thought it was a good race. I enjoyed the race, except for, of course, I mean, the exception there is obviously there. And so I think whether you enjoyed that race is a matter of whether you're willing to ignore that part of it or at least make it a footnote instead of the headline. But aside from that, I really enjoyed it. And not only enjoyed it, but like start, middle, and finish. I thought the finish was still good. I know there was a lot of, or barely anybody on the lead lap, but the people who were digging for it, they were racing good. Beginning and middle, people were setting themselves up. I enjoyed the race.
Yeah, I think on a rare occasion such as this, I'm actually going to side with Kyle Busch in that I thought that the way that the team rules were set up for the Joe Gibbs guys, that they did themselves a disservice. Now, they all finished well, so they don't have to worry about, somebody being stuck in the back or whatever. Well, I say they all. Carl's got work to do.
Yeah.
Obviously. But, the way it was very obvious when the race was over that Denny Hamlin had taken advantage of team rules to make his car wider than it should be because they were in a no-contact policy
and
situation.
That's something. That doesn't taste good, does it?
No, it doesn't taste good. We hate
Team
it when
rules.
it happens in NASCAR because that's what we make fun of F1 for.
Right.
So when we see it happen in NASCAR, it leaves a really bitter taste in your mouth.
Yeah.
And the reality is that, we don't know what happened. Obviously, Keselowski was really good on that last run, but Kenseth had been good all day. But Kenseth couldn't get around Hamlin. Was he good enough to challenge? Who knows? What if we had a caution with 20 to go? And Kenseth was running second because he'd actually gotten around Hamlin.
I don't know.
Those things. Those are the things. Those are what if games. Obviously there's not a lot of value in playing them, but there is in terms of developing content for this kind of arena. Is like, why have a rule like that? Like, so if you're going to have the rule that I don't want you to dump a teammate to take a position when it's clear, like. They can see their lap times in the car now. Remember that. The reason why we don't hear lap times on the scanner audio from NASCAR.com is because they see it on the dash.
Yep.
The only thing they need to hear is what people are running around them. If you're Denny Hamlin and 10 laps in a row you run, let's call it a 20.8, and the guy behind you is running a 20.75, let him go.
Yeah. That's the team rules thing. That's got to go. And something that people have been saying is that what that leads to is nothing more than these guys realizing that they can move on to the next round by round, doing points racing, which is kind of the cuss word of NASCAR.
Absolutely hilarious.
I think it's hilarious. I agree.
So that's why I'll flip my coin and I'll smack my mic apparently. I'll flip the coin and I'll go over to the side that oftentimes, whatever makes NASCAR look the dumbest, I'm kind of in favor of that situation happening, just because it forces them to problem solve. And now they're going to have to look at this and problem solve. The problem is I don't have a lot of confidence in their ability to problem solve. So I wish that Joe Gibbs wouldn't have a team race rule, so that we don't have to force NASCAR into a box that they don't know how to open.
Well, I mean, it didn't do them any good at Talladega.
Yeah,
right?
It did. They transferred.
Well, all right. I'm thinking wins, I guess. So you're right. Yeah. Well, it didn't do them any good at Martinsville, other than
they still have the
decent
chance
finish
to get 2 cars in.
Yep.
And if they win at Texas, they have a chance to get 3 cars in.
Yep.
But they have to win Texas and Phoenix to do that.
Yeah. So I take it back. It was a great call. I mean, we already said it last week. I thought it was a good call. Hate the player, hate the game, or hate the game, not the player.
Well, that's what
whatever.
I said. Don't hate the game or player. Don't hate the player, hate the game. That's the box that NASCAR painted them in.
Yeah, and they figured out how to
Martinsville
draw
will be the
within
same
those lines.
way.
So
I thought Jeff Gluck had a pretty interesting solution, but I mean, a one-off solution is always going to be a one-off solution.
Sure.
In that, let's race to 10 races like we used to. Whoever wins the most races wins.
That's not a bad idea.
And if you have a tie, then it's points.
That's not a bad idea.
That's fun.
Or
Jimmy Johnson's going to win 11 championships. I don't have a problem with that, though.
Yeah. And I think I saw a breakdown of that, of each season, who was going to be the champion. And it wasn't far off from...
It would have been Joey last year.
And he would have deserved it.
Yeah.
And could somebody... And I guess the thing that they don't get, going full circle here, they don't get their Game 7 moment a lot of times. If there's a guy who's won 6 races and everybody else has won 4, he's just doing parade laps,
I think they have to get over that, though.
I think they do, too.
Because
you
not
ain't always
the kind of
gonna have a
sport.
Game 7.
It's not football.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a one-game deal
Mm-hmm.
the way you have, with the Super Bowl. Even baseball doesn't get it very often. There are very few Game 7 moments in the World Series. That's why Atlanta versus Minnesota is still like number 2 or number 1 on the list, depending on who you talk to.
Yep.
The Cubs game this past week may have surpassed that.
I think that's a number 1.
Because it went to extra innings and there was like a big gap that was overcome.
Yeah.
So it probably went to number 1. But you're still only talking about we're talking about series that happen 26 years apart, and we're trying to figure out 1-2.
Yeah,
what the best Game 7 moment was for a World Series.
Yeah,
26 years. If that happened in NASCAR, there wouldn't be anybody there. We wouldn't have a sport. What are we talking about?
Truth, yeah.
If that's what we think is the measuring stick, we wouldn't have a sport. I mean, come on.
So it's a come on, man.
Yeah, I need Chris Carter to do as a come on, man.
Right. So you wrote this note down here, and I love it. Never make any assumptions about the 48 team being in some kind of slump. And you can look all day at Hendrick. You can look all day at, he won a few races at the beginning of the season. He hadn't won in later in the season. Hey, don't count them out at any point. And I'm glad that sorry, I'm passing you the bottle opener there.
I need a bottle opener.
I'm how do I say this? I'm becoming a Jimmy Johnson fan? Am I allowed to say that?
No, you can say that you're becoming a fan, but you don't have to declare yourself as a fan. What you can say is that you're impressed with the performance. So we're talking about since 2002, he's won 79 races and 6 championships.
Yeah.
So even if you scale this back to the Richard Petty days where they ran 48 races a year, he's on a very similar pace in terms of number of wins.
That's insane. Yeah.
Because his career hasn't lasted 35 years. It's lasted 14.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, how do you not, you have to respect it. People are going to hate him. The thing is, he doesn't do anything for you to hate.
Well, that's the thing. People are going to respect him but hate him. But I respect him and I like him more and more. And now, of course, I picked him this past week. So when he came across the line, I was pretty darn excited. But even still, when he's not, he's the type of guy, he keeps giving you, it's almost like he keeps saying, give yourself a reason to not like me other than that I am winning a lot. But, hey, Kyle Busch does the same thing. What can I say?
Yeah. Kyle hasn't won at the same clip in the Cup Series, though.
Yeah.
He is a champion now, and he should be respected. He's won over 30 races. He surpassed his brother. Kyle Busch, at this stage in time, has more accolades than his brother. and his brother is a hell of a race car driver.
Is the best one, if you ask the garage.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know where we were. I don't know how this segment ends other than just saying Jimmy Johnson's really freaking good. And it doesn't matter whether you like him or not.
Well, it ends right there. Let's talk about the Xfinity Series. And what, nothing, no races this past week, but pretty big news coming out of JRM. Allgaier, Sadler, Byron, and Nett. When's the last time an Xfinity Series, especially after they just said, hey, Cup drivers, you're not allowed to be in it, under certain circumstances or whatever. This is a great sign, number one, for me, in terms of the future of the sport. Like, here's some guys that we are, obviously Sadler is, going to be racing in that series the rest of his career. But great for the sport and great for, where was I going with that? It's great for the sport. In the light that they said, hey, the Cup drivers are not allowed to run in this series as much anymore or whatever. It's great for the sport that somebody's putting together a full boat in the Xfinity Series. That's where I'm going with that.
Yeah, no, and that's I'm like, okay, so we've repeatedly admitted that we didn't really get into the sport until the early 2000s. But at the same token, in that 14, 15, 16-year period of time, we haven't seen anybody run for the championship a full boat in the Xfinity Series. That's not happened.
Yeah.
Nobody's done that. And Roush would have maybe come the closest, maybe Richard Childress, but they still only ran 2 cars.
Yeah.
Like
we're talking about
2.5
cars.
like
That's
they're
cool.
running 4 full boats. Okay, and I'm sure some of this had to do with the fact that Harvick's going over to Ford with SHR, and he was bringing sponsorship for that R&D car. But, let's think about it from this perspective. What JRM was trying to learn by running him and Junior and Bowman, and I think Casey did one race in that car, is do we have the team in place to legitimately put a championship contender in this car and run the full season with it? Sounds like they got their answer.
And if you're adding another car, that these are not, I just said it already. These are not all just development guys either, with Sadler in there. So they have found a way to not only develop stuff and research and do the R&D you're talking about, but also, I think it's making money for them too.
Well, exactly. And so if you look at the lineup, you look at Elliott Sadler, Justin Allgaier, William Byron, and Michael Annett. Okay, so you have a Cup winner who brings a fantastic sponsor who just thought about exiting the sport but decided not to because of the success that Elliott's had this year with One Main Financial. Used to be Citibank. So they've got a very good, veteran driver, someone who can win races if you give him the right equipment, and he's got a good sponsor.
Yep.
Okay, so solid with the one car. And if you look over at Justin Allgaier, has proven himself in the past the ability to win in Xfinity, got a Cup opportunity in a back marker car, has sponsorship, and has competed quite well in the 7 car, but is fully sponsored.
We need to ask the next driver that we have on here, would you take a back marker car in the Cup Series or a championship caliber car in Xfinity?
I thought we asked
I think
one of
it's
the guys.
going to be unanimous, though.
I thought we asked, didn't we ask Ryan Ellis that?
Maybe.
I thought he said back marker Cup because it just pays so much more money.
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess if you're looking for coin, that might be the case.
I think that's what
the coin or the
I can't
glory.
remember exactly, so I won't dig deep into the rabbit hole on that. But and then so we skip. So we get William Byron is really the lone development driver, but he
quote
brings,
unquote development. He's
quote
a winner.
unquote. And we'll say it again. We said this before when the announcement came that he was going to get a full-time ride at JRM in the Xfinity Series. We weren't surprised because he drove late models before he was given the truck opportunity with KBM.
Yeah,
and it was basically a loaner deal. It was like, is he any good? Oh yeah, turns out he's real freaking good.
Real good.
All right, bring him.
Yeah,
and then you got Michael Annett who's bringing the J Pilot money, the truck stop money, and maybe with a really good car, maybe he can have some success and win a race or two. He's certainly not going to do it in a back marker car running for Tommy Baldwin. Love you, Tommy Baldwin. You were Casey's first crew chief in the Cup, but your cars can't win.
Yeah.
We know that.
Yep. So I see Kyle Larson updates at 42_updates is on the Periscope there, giving us some ish right now about it. Not ish, but just, he's piping
doing
up
some banner.
He sent us a question. He said, what the hell, JRM? Annette to the 5? What about Bowman and probably 50 other guys? I'm sure Annette brought sponsorship and all, but how disappointing as a NASCAR fan to see that. I will say this. I think you answered your own question there, bud. If you bring cash, you get to play.
Yeah, and Annette has actually proven his ability to get a race car into the race and to bring it home.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can do that in Cup, there's going to be Xfinity teams that will receive a very similar amount of money.
Yeah.
They'll be like, yeah, because it's about a third, I think, is sort of the estimate, the cost to sponsor an Xfinity car.
Mm-hmm.
And so what that amounts to in the end is like $6 to $8 million if you want to win.
Mm-hmm.
Like 10 to 12 if you want to really compete for the championship.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, if they're bringing money and he can keep the car off the wall, which he's done a lot in that 46. So, I mean, what else do you want? I mean, Junior Motorsports is now going to be the best company in Xfinity racing, and they're an independent company.
Sure.
And people are going to say all day long, "Oh, they're getting Hendrick this and Hendrick." It's a different shop. They hang their own bodies.
SHR is there too.
Yeah,
cool.
I mean, so if you want to discount Junior Motorsports for what they're doing in affiliation with the Cup team, you have to discount everything SHR did with their Cup team.
Mm-hmm.
So let's move on from there.
But it's a good question as far as like an Alex Bowman. I think an Alex Bowman could probably pull some stuff now. If you're in Junior's car for a regular amount of time, you're gonna get some more fans, and you're gonna get some more sponsorship opportunities. I think just by sitting in that seat. I think.
I wonder if Bowman has not already got something going on with a decent car,
or Michael Annette already had something going on with JRM.
Well, either way, but for sure. Yeah, for sure. But what I'm saying is I wonder if – I mean, Junior's not going to hang Alex Bowman out to dry. We know that about him.
And he's been driving the wheels off that car.
And he's been driving that car very well, and he's driven the 88 Xfinity car very well too. I would imagine we're going to hear something about Bowman in the next 3 to 4 weeks that people will be happy about.
I like this prediction.
Like that's where I'm at with silly season. I think the reason why we're not seeing Alex Bowman in a full-time JRM car is because they found something else for him to do that is a good option.
I love how much we've just talked about Xfinity. This was fun.
Yeah.
Like you get the where you're talking about the Cup every week and blah blah. This is we need to do more of that.
Hell yeah, we do. And
keep bringing those questions. And thank you for that one. At 42_updates, Kyle Larson updates, friend of the podcast. That was fun to talk about. We have some extensions. Trevor Bayne announces like a 3-year extension with Roush
and Advocare. So that's big. That's big news.
That's huge news.
There's no gray cloud over the head. We've heard lots of rumors. I mean, I would only be repeating what smarter, more knowledgeable people have said. We already know that there's a possibility JTG Daugherty is going to expand to 2 cars. They actually mentioned it on TV today.
Mm-hmm.
What hasn't been mentioned on television, as far as I know, but has been mentioned on professional podcasts, is that there is a chance Roush is going to contract to 2 cars, meaning there is going to be
Holy crap.
an available for rent charter.
Yeah.
So what does that mean in the long run? Who knows? Does that mean Penske might run a 3rd car with Alex Bowman in it? Who knows? Like, we could speculate from here to Nebraska.
Yeah.
But there's the silly season is finally picking up. We're going to hear some neat stuff. And Trevor Bayne was just kind of the start of the things that you were kind of like, huh?
Oh, how about that?
Well, the on-track performance certainly doesn't warrant that.
Well, that's what kind of was
the
a head
B2B
scratcher.
stuff might.
Yeah, that was a head scratcher to me. Was the on-track is a little strange there, and I guess he's been around long enough that it doesn't feel like he's the future of Roush.
No.
But we've talked about it before. Who's their flagship guy? Biffle Missile,
46.
he's not long for the series.
And he's the one they were talking about maybe going to drive the second JTG Doherty car.
Yeah. So Roush, I think, is going to have some shakeup in the offseason. That's going to be interesting in the silly season. Harvick with a 3-year contract with Busch Beer. So he got Busch back on.
That's not a surprise.
No.
I'm
not surprised at all.
Anheuser-Busch isn't going to leave NASCAR.
Well, and after he already announced that, or squashed all the rumors about, is he leaving, now that SHR is moving to Ford, blah, blah, blah.
Me again the other day about Kane and Harvick in the 5, and I'm like, do you not understand how contracts work?
Yeah, right.
Nobody buys out contracts in NASCAR. It doesn't happen.
No.
Anytime you've seen a NASCAR driver fired, he was in the last year of his contract.
Yeah. So
they don't have enough money to buy these contracts out.
No. So that's even more solidifying that with Busch Beer and Harvick. Yeah, no question about that. And Busch might have been hanging back, kind of going, we'll figure it out. You figure out your deal, we'll figure out our deal. Harvick says, I'm staying here and publicly announcing it and, signing in blood and all that. And okay, well, let's start the paperwork then. Now the paperwork's done.
Well, yeah, he's got Jimmy John's and Budweiser all in. I mean, KHI has Cowboy Cerrone and Budweiser.
Yeah.
And Misha Tate.
They got that gas station pizza. And
they got the gas station pizza, which, take it or leave it. But
I'll leave it.
They've got, they've got golfers now. They got Jake Owen, fantastic country music singer.
Yeah.
KHI is kicking ass, and so every decision that Kevin makes is going to be closely tied with that. So if Budweiser is still attached to Cowboy Cerrone and he's still being repped by KHI, well, it shouldn't shock anyone that Busch is back on the car.
No. So rounding out the tearing it down, hats are off and glasses are raised to Mr. Robert Yates. Starting his bout with liver cancer, and we're going to cheers to that. This is how we send our best wishes and stuff. We're going to cheers to you.
Yeah, there's not
raise a glass.
The praying thing that we're thinking about you. We're wishing the swiftest and simplest recovery possible. We love racing, and we love everybody in it. So yeah, definitely cheers to that. And cancer flipping sucks.
Yeah. We didn't, you know what? Before we finish tearing it down, how about Johnny Sauter at Martinsville?
How about Johnny Sauter at Martinsville?
Just decided to throw himself right into the
slung it, man. It's
homestead.
Like he had a different fourth gear than everybody else and just said, I'm winning, damn it.
Yes, sir. So good on him. We didn't talk much about trucks this time.
Did he have that Smoky Mountains tobaccoless snuff on the truck?
Good for him.
I don't think he did. It was green and white though, because that used to be the color. Ron Hornaday had those colors.
Yeah.
It's same colors, but I don't think that was a sponsor. I don't know, but no, that was good. That was a hell of a race. Good on him, and good on Chase for just learning some stuff and not getting involved and boogering up a race.
Yeah.
Chaser.
So here we go. Let's gas it up. Well, you talked about it already. We've got the first of 3 NASCAR triple headers tonight.
Hell yeah. As soon as we're done with this show, we're going to go down there and watch that truck race.
Yes, sir.
Which is going to be awesome.
I'm excited. At Tejas.
Yeah, the truckers at the quad ovals is almost like it's like a plate race. It's like Cup at plate rate at Daytona like 10 years ago. When the surface was rough and the leader would actually lap guys because he handled better. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like that. You can draft like a mofo, but you still need to handle real good.
Yeah. It's not just pack racing all the way around and wait 100 laps before something happens. And they don't have 100 laps to have something happen.
Yeah, what is it? It's a 350K. So that's we're looking at a 200
mile, something like that.
Yeah, so that's 125 laps.
125
laps, I think. Something like that.
So that's going to be fun to watch. Probably have that result maybe even before the podcast is over. Actually, they started a little later, so it'll be all right.
No, we'll be finished up. We'll get to fast forward through all the commercials, which is key.
Yep. So we had practice and qualifying today. Austin Dillon on the pole. Where the hell did he come from?
Cheating.
Crap.
That was loaded up. That was just loaded up.
Yeah, if you want me to tee it up for you.
Softball that thing. No, I don't know. I mean, the thing that I saw early was like the first 10 minutes of practice, Kyle Busch didn't even finish a lap of practice before he blasted the wall and had to go to a back.
Blasted the wall. Oops.
Yeah. Whoa, bam.
Yep, that's going to be tough. What do we have on cheaters right now? Who's cheating?
We don't have an active cheater for this week. We still got Denny Hamlin can't figure out what a speed limit is.
Holy moly. And see, so earlier in the year, if you remember, we talked about it, and I brought it up. I was like, what are these guys doing? And it was our theory that, well, these guys, they've already got their win early on, because they won. Didn't they win Daytona?
Yeah, Denny won the 500.
Yeah, so he won the 500, so you can just F around, to use the parlance of our time.
Well, I have some more to add to that. You keep going.
But we had speculated. We said, well, he's trying all kinds of stuff. He's pushing the envelope. He's seeing what it's going to take and trying to hone in on that. Well, we get into the chase, and he's just blasting by the stop signs again.
Multiple times. So here's the thing, and I will certainly forgive any of our good friends in the media that have professional jobs in the media that have to write columns that people want to read. And I can't remember if it was Nate, Jeff, Bob, maybe they all wrote the same thing, Kelly, I don't know. They may have all written the same thing. But it was basically on the edge of, he still got good finishes. Mm-hmm. Oh, despite the speeding penalty, he still finished fourth. So that was really a good finish for the day. It's like, well, were they trying to finish fourth? Or were they trying to win the race?
Yeah. Well, despite crashing, the 48 won the race.
Yeah. If you ask, won
the race. Won the race.
If you ask any crew chief, a penalty gets you one pit stop behind,
right,
on adjustments, because you may have just adjusted for running seventh.
Yep.
And now you're running 27th.
Yep.
And you're back with the buttholes.
Back with the buttholes. That's a Sherwinism right there.
And it doesn't matter what racetrack you're at. If you're back with the buttholes, your car behaves differently.
Yeah.
The driver doesn't understand the concept of I'm racing with buttholes. He just has a steering wheel, and he's got 3 pedals.
Yeah.
And he's giving feedback.
Uh-huh.
And if you make an adjustment because you can't get around the buttholes, you'll never get to the front. So, like, writing the article of, well, Denny was able to overcome the speeding penalty and still finish 7th. Yeah, well, if he hadn't have sped, he might have won. Mm-hmm. Like, that's a huge difference.
Exactly. And that's what you said about, well, were you trying to get fourth?
It's a stupid argument.
Right. No, I agree. We got actually, before we get to that, how many times Jimmy won in a row at Texas? Like,
all of them.
Yeah, there's like a bunch,
and all of them in recent memory. I think if he wins this one, it's like 5 in a row.
If he wins this one, it's kind of trolling too, isn't it? Like,
yeah, he's just
hey, screw you guys.
Just kind of like waving a hanky.
Yeah,
at him out the window.
Good luck points racing. I'm gonna win these things.
Smell this.
Oh man! So we got a question from Brent Jones. Go ahead.
He took the hottest girl home from the prom.
Yes, sir.
Didn't give a damn who brought her. He took her home.
Yes, sir. Got a question from Brent Jones at JonesBrent570. He says, in its 3rd season, has the current chase format done enough to attract a younger demographic? That is a hard question, isn't it?
It was never set up to do that.
You don't think so?
No. Because young people have to watch all during the year in order to also watch the chase.
You think, though? I mean, not really. You can watch the last 10 races, and there's these 16 guys in, and now we can, and we're resetting points. We can kind of restart at this point. And we reset points every 3.
I need to meet that fan that is a super casual NASCAR fan that says, you know what, I don't really pay attention weekend to weekend, but when the chase starts, I'm in. I need to capture data from that human being.
That's a good point. Because
I've never met one.
Here's what I think it will, or that it has done, whether or not I like this or not, is that by creating falsely or whatever the Game 7 moment at Homestead,
manufacturing excitement,
you're going to you're going to get more people. I don't know if they have, though. I don't know if they have. What is the ratings at Homestead?
I don't think they've attracted new viewers. That's the thing. Is the question is mostly about, has it brought more people in? I think no. Because the ratings say no.
Right. So has it brought in a younger audience? I think they were hoping it would. At least, here's what I think they were hoping, is that with Homestead, people are going to start watching Homestead. Because, hey, this is our, non-baseball fans were watching Game 7 the other night.
True.
Non-baseball fans were watching that. I even saw somebody on Facebook, buddy of ours, who said, baseball ... is ... fun? ? He was like, holy crap, I just had fun watching a baseball game.
Yep.
But I think that's what they want, is people to start with Homestead, start at the end, and then get into the chase, and then get into the whole season. I think that's what they're wanting. I'm not sure if they're there yet after 3 seasons, and I think what they can do instead is stuff like what they did at Charlotte with things like, something different with the All-Star race where you can pit at, 160 miles an hour or
qualify.
Yeah, doing the qualifying pit for that one. Or you can, you know what? I thought I would bring in
that idea, I think via Twitter, is why doesn't every track have one thing they're the only place that does the thing?
Yeah, we're going to race clockwise one time, or we're going to race
however, whatever it is that you want to do that's different.
Mm-hmm.
But I think so that what I would say is you haven't moved the needle with the chase.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't moved the needle with the elimination rounds of the chase. And when you race against what the NFL considers to be the best game of the week at 4:25 on the East Coast, you're going to lose.
Yeah, especially in the day of...
Because that's almost always going to be like the Patriots or the Steelers versus somebody.
And especially now with the whole fantasy football thing that people are into, they're going to be watching that. I mean, that's what NFL has really caught on to, and what's the hook for a lot of young folks. And NASCAR doesn't have something like that right now, and you can't manufacture that. You gotta come up with your own.
No, and I mean, and so for those of you that are watching that are just NASCAR buffs, and you've only ever experienced NASCAR, or you'd only ever experienced our podcast as a NASCAR podcast, Miller Lite introduced a set of rules for fantasy football in 1992 that you had to do by hand with a freaking pencil.
I did. First time I played was in 99.
And people did it.
Yeah.
And now that there's online outlets for it, it certainly is much easier to be the commissioner of a league.
Mm-hmm.
But they played it then. You remember there was those beer commercials when Miller Lite first went from the white pinstriped can to the blue one and trying to generate blue and gold and trying to generate excitement. That was when fantasy football hit the internet.
Yeah.
And so that's where we're at in terms of development. We're 20 years behind. Now, we do have online fantasy. I quit playing 6 weeks ago in both of my leagues because I don't care. That's where I'm at with it.
It's a weird thing, too, because you got to learn how to get fans and retain fans, which I think actually NFL has done with me. I've played a lot of fantasy, and then I stopped playing fantasy, but now I still watch just as much football. Because I like the football.
I'm a bigger NFL fan now than I ever was as a fantasy player.
Mm-hmm.
I think I get more enjoyment out of watching it now than when I was like,
there's no
oh my
stress
God,
to
I
it.
got to root for Seattle because I've got.
Or you got to root for
butthole.
like Seattle's defense, but you got to root for whoever's offense.
Yeah, it's
like
dumb.
this is weird. Yeah. So
that's why I drafted Matt Ryan and Julio Jones. Like, that's not always going to win you a league, but at least it helps me root. But that's when I decided I don't want to play anymore.
Right, because that's who I want.
So to the question asker.
Brent
Jones? Was it Brent? Yeah.
Yep, that one's Brent.
So, Brent, what I would say is absolutely not. NASCAR has swung and missed at bringing new, younger fans in. Doesn't mean they won't get better at it in the future. It just means that right now, I don't think that they have hit a home run with the chase.
Bring back tandem racing.
Be nice if they brought back tandem racing at Talladega, but that's not going to save the chase either way.
No. Let's do some picks. You ready for this? Here's our guy. There we go. Oh yeah, I won last week. So
yeah, you did.
And by the way, Team PETM podcast told or beat Team Tao Weaver.
Yes, we did.
By the way,
yes, we did.
So with your guy crashing out too, but I think both theirs crashed out and mine won.
We
the race,
had an average finish of 11th with you winning. And they had like an average finish of 14th. So it's not a strong win.
Yay!
It's a 1.5 point cover is what it amounts to.
Yep. There we go. Either way, we won it. This week I'm picking Kyle Busch because he
shut your mouth.
He has won at Texas. You're mad at me every time I pick. It's funny. No. It's funny. He's won at Texas before, and I think a Roush. Jesus, what a Roush! Sleep Rusty. I believe a car from his team will win.
I think of the racing.
Yeah,
thing.
I think a Gibbs car is going to take this one. If you're going Gibbs, you're going Kyle Busch.
Wrong.
Okay.
I wanted to do that. I'm going Chase Elliott. That's I all the way down
think
here
it's time?
in the car. Yeah, it's time. People are
it's
going to
been
get on.
time
I'm the John Roberts. I'm picking Biffle every week. But I mean, dude was turbo fast in practice, qualified well.
It's a mile and a half,
It's
which
a
should
mile
be his
and a
thing.
half.
You know, Atlanta, Charlotte, Texas.
He's the best Hendrick car.
I think this is his best chance to win for the rest of the year. How about that?
For sure.
Yeah.
Pressure's off. There's nothing to compete for except to win the race.
Yep, that too. And he's probably going to get good resources too. Jimmy, the pressure is off of him. You know, obviously Junior's not in this thing. Casey, whatever, kind of right now.
Well, in the 48 and 24, the same. 88, same shot. Never mind.
Oh, never mind. It's all good.
I forgot my sign.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. Extra sports topic. We got the Breeders' Cup this weekend.
Breeders' Cup. So I'll always love talking about the ponies. I think you share my love for the Triple Crown series. We love to watch the races, and the Breeders' Cup is just sort of an extension of that. It's like the fourth race. And the really cool thing about the Breeders' Cup is they move the race every year. Hey, NASCAR.
Hey.
So they're at Santa Anita Downs in Arcadia, California, Southern California, made famous by the movie about some small horse that was fast. I think you've seen it. The Spider-Man guy was in it. Everybody's seen it. Yeah. No, but I love watching the ponies run, man. It's just cool. Make you a mint julep and watch the ponies run.
Yeah,
about
make something
about 5:30 on Saturday
somebody.
afternoon.
Be somebody.
Switch it on over to NBC for just a couple minutes.
We got Strange with Stang.
Woo!
Ashley J. Stang sends us this question in. And by the way, we're going to have either her or one of her drivers on during the off-season.
I told her she's got to be on in the off-season.
Yep, there's no doubt. So Stang Motorsports, she's going to be on. Anyway, Strange with Stang. Do you wear socks with sandals? If yes, what the hell for?
I'm with her on the ooh.
Yeah,
and
she was like,
I don't normally side. Okay, so here we go. We're going to delve into a dark place here.
Here we go.
I don't normally side on our in-state rival.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard for me to agree with anything that happens over there.
Yeah, you got to kind of rub your forehead a little bit. Like, all right, listen,
grunt a little bit.
He's talking about UGA for those who.
But sometimes I get sent some funny stuff by my friends that are affiliated with that institution over there in Athens. One of them was like this 3-year-old had been coached up by his family to say, Gators wear jean shorts and Gators wear socks with sandals. And it is the funniest damn video.
3-year-old just screaming that.
Screaming.
Gators wear jean shorts.
Yeah, Gators wear socks with sandals. And like, it is the funniest damn thing I've ever seen. And it's like, all right, you're like, you know what? I can just appreciate this for being funny.
Yeah.
Because, like, when you can manipulate your kid and doing some funny stuff, that's the way kids ought to be manipulated.
That's quality right there. Well done. No, I don't wear socks with sandals. The sandals that I wear are like the flip-flop style where, they call them, foot thongs or whatever, where the big toe and the toe next to it, there's that piece in between them.
Flip-flops.
Flip-flops. So, I mean, that's what I always call them.
I have flip-flops, and I have a pair of Birkenstocks.
Yeah, I don't
wear socks with either one.
Yeah, I don't have any of those. Well, for hiking, I do have some sandals, but no, I've never worn socks with them. Matter of fact, I had to throw them out because I got gross, but hey, that's better than wearing socks with them.
Yeah. Well, those open-air hiking things, they're that's a different deal. That's not sandals.
Oh, those are great. Anyway.
Like nobody wears socks with Tevas.
No, that's what they were. Yeah, exactly. I mean, exactly. Let's round this thing out before we go too far off the rails, y'all.
Too deep.
Yeah, here we go. We got the...
we got some jelly beans?
Beer jelly bean challenge. Let's do this. Oh, man. Oh, that's way too many. I'm going to eat them all anyway.
Oh, crap.
Y'all, if you're listening to this and you do not have a PTM podcast sticker, it's your own damn fault.
Right, because all you got to do is
DM us, email us, go on the website.
Stickers.
Anything. They're free. We pay postage. We pay for the sticker. They might have. They've been sitting there a while. Like, we're having to chew harder on these jelly beans. So, point is, y'all follow us at PETM Podcast. You know where to go. And get your sticker. We're going to talk about how to get these. We got like 100,000 of these. These koozies. We're going to be giving them away. But we're working on some stuff to where you can, where you can get that for yourself. We'll let you know about that shortly. I don't know what else to say. Follow me. No, I'm Rusty at Tailgate Mayor.
I'm Sherwin at Pregame ENG.
We appreciate you. If you stuck around this long, God bless you.
Yeah, no kidding.
We'll talk to y'all next week.
Thumbs up.